All rise.
I want viewers watching my show to believe in themselves.
Judge Hatchett is compelling.
I was not the first one to throw a walk.
Let me just tell you what you just said.
Compassionate.
I really enjoy being a judge. Now I am touching people who I will never know I touched.
She's powerful.
You should have never let them walk out of your life when she was 3.
And she's on the bench.
Don't get me preaching up in here today.
Right.
You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. Myrna Thompson is suing Sam Price in the amount of $300. Ms. Thompson claims Mr. Price sent her family home during a tour of religious sites. Mr. Price claims the plaintiff and her family were aware of the rules, but they chose to violate them, and they had to be sent home.
All rise. Court is now in session with the Honorable Judge Hatchett presiding.
Thank you very much, officer. You may be seated. Ms. Thompson, you're here suing Mr. Price for $300.
Yes.
And basically you're saying that he owes you for a part of the fee that you paid for his tour.
Yes.
That you and your children were on. Tell me about this tour.
Okay, so we are a free-loving family. We respect other people's religions. I want my boys to be raised up where they respect all cultures, all religions. So I took them on this religious tour. That was
How
our
many
field
boys?
trip.
How many children?
I have 3.
3 sons. How
Yes.
old are they?
7, 9, and 15.
And
so,
what happened?
Well, we go to the... I find Mr. Price's tour company on Facebook or something. I found it online.
All right.
So I see that. I sign up. We drive up from, down Southern California up to Northern California to go. Now, we get there, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes late. We go into the office. He's sitting there talking about religion. Yes.
Tell me more about this tour. Why were you going on the tour? Why were you looking for the tour?
I want my children to have a spirituality sense, but I don't want to impose a certain religion on them. Now, I happen to be Christian, but I don't want to have to tell them you have to be Christian. I want them to know what they want to be. I want them to know what God they want to serve, and they have to do something. So I want them to, this tour, you see Buddhist, you see Catholic, you see Mormon, you see just Christian, just all the different things. And I wanted them to experience that because I believe when we all talk together and we learn more things about one another, it makes us better people. And I want my young men to be good people. Right. So that's why we went on this tour. It's nice and educational. I homeschooled them. So this was our field trip. This was our yearly trip.
Interesting. And how many different places were you to visit?
Supposed to see 8.
8 different?
Yes, and we only saw 4.
Okay.
So that's why we have an issue. That's why we are here.
That's why you're here.
Yes.
And so you want to tell me what the issue was?
I would love to tell you what the issue is. So we started off, we get there, we go to the little office, and he's sitting there talking to the other patrons. There were 2 elderly couples who are already there for the tour. So he's telling them about the different sites. So I have the boys sit down and we're listening. And then he says, okay, it's time to go to the van. Now my little ones shoot up, they run to the van, go sit in the van. He tells me, I'm going to need you and your children to sit in the back of the van. Now, I had to check my watch to see what year it was where I have to sit in the back of the van.
Your Honor, nothing of the kind. I meant nothing by that. I meant that the elderly couples have a hard time hearing, maybe. One had hip replacement surgery. And when I was growing up, we always let older people take the front seats. So I naturally told the kids to sit in the back. I meant nothing by that. I hope you didn't think so.
Did you explain, Mr. Price, your reasoning for that? I mean, it's one thing to say, go sit in the back. It's another thing. I mean, and you can understand the cultural sensitivity about go sit in the back. I'm talking, go sit in the back of the bus. Did you offer an explanation? Because the explanation seems perfectly reasonable to me.
Well, yes, I did. I told them that they might be hard of hearing, and I reminded them that one had a hip replacement surgery, and I just thought that it was just the courteous thing to do to let them sit up front.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. All right, so now we're on the van, and then what happens?
Real quick, he did not tell me about any hip replacement surgery. He just said, well, they can't hear. And when we get on the van, he's using the microphone anyway, so I'm thinking, well, why does it matter if there's speakers everywhere that they can't hear? Not to mention, when we walked in, he's like, oh, so you decided to join us? That was his greeting to us when we first walked in the office. But now
Were
we
you
on
late?
the van.
Were you late?
We were 5 minutes late, Your Honor. I mean, it's a tour. Tours don't never start on time. They don't. I've been on many a tour. They never start
Your
on time.
Honor, Your
we were
Honor.
5 minutes late. We were coming from out of town. He at least could have extended that courtesy.
Your Honor, I had started already giving the rules and regulations of the tour. We waited 5 minutes, and then we had a group of 8 altogether, so I felt we had to get started if we were going to hit all the churches. So I was going to the rules and regulations, and she missed them. She and her family missed them. However, she's not unaware of them, because when she bought the tour on the internet, she had to click a little box that said she read and agreed all the instructions. So she was fully aware of all the rules.
No one reads that little box when it says check here. Your Honor, do you actually read that little box?
That's what you were going to say.
No one reads that little box.
I was waiting on
I glanced at it.
I
It basically
was
said,
waiting.
don't act the fool.
I was waiting. I was waiting. I knew that's what you were going to say.
Coming up on The Verdict with Judge Hatchett.
Her son was taking a selfie, and he's taking selfies with statues and paintings and even a statue of Jesus.
The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Myrna Thompson, who is suing Sam Price for $300.
So you admit that you didn't read the rules?
I skimmed it. It basically said, don't act the fool.
Oh, all right.
Your
Which
Honor,
we weren't going to act the fool anyway. This is not our first time out in public.
I have the rules right here, and I can tell you what they say if you'd like to see them.
Well, let's talk about what happened, and then I can understand what the rules say, so I can understand were there any infractions of the rules.
At the first church, it was the Catholic Cathedral. We went there first. Now, my youngest baby, he wanted to take pictures with my phone, so he started taking pictures, and he started yelling at me, no flash, no flash, no flash. So I take the phone back, I turn off the flash, and let the baby have the camera.
Your Honor, this is a beautiful cathedral, beautiful paintings and statues. Her son was taking a selfie, and he's taking selfies with statues and paintings and even a statue of Jesus. This is not acceptable.
He wanted to have a picture with him in Christ. I mean, come on now. He wanted to be in the picture. He wasn't doing nothing wrong to Jesus. He know better than that. He was just taking a picture. He was just smiling with the Lord.
Your Honor, Your Honor.
But he had a problem with it.
Oh.
So, Your Honor, in the next...
I need a cup of tea. I need some... I really do. Mean, we haven't even gotten to the claim yet. We're still at the first stop with the selfies with Jesus. Okay,
with
so
no
then what
flash.
happened?
No flash selfie.
But he was taking a flash, and you took it back. Okay, so then what happened? Tell me what happened.
At the second spot, now this was a Christian church. My 9-year-old, he decides that he wants to, what's the word I'm looking for? He won't talk back to his mama. You don't talk back to me. I don't care what part of the country we are in. You don't talk back to me.
I agree
So
with that.
I told him in no uncertain terms that I was going to spank him.
And
now,
yes, Your
I may
Honor.
have used words that were in the Bible, maybe not in that context. I may have said something similar to a donkey that was going to be spanked on that child.
Mr. Price.
Your Honor, she was using verbal abuse and profanity. She kept on and on and on. I went over to her several times, asked her to stop. She wouldn't stop.
The boy ain't gonna talk to me any old kind of way, so I didn't actually spank the child. He didn't get that whooping he was so desperately begging for. He didn't get it. He didn't get it. But I told him what was gonna happen, and then he stopped. And when I'm finally disciplined my child, since he's acting like I just let my children run all over the place, he complained when I disciplined the child. And all I did was talk to the boy. I ain't touch him.
Do you not think that that was inappropriate?
Look, I've been praying, okay? I've been praying to try to calm my temper. I tend to get a temper. He already started when he gonna tell us get in the back of the bus, okay? He already started that. I was already on edge.
Coming up on The Verdict with Judge Hatchett.
The kid in the middle of a Buddhist temple while they were all meditating yells out loudly, What's the Wi-Fi password?
Network featuring dynamic judges and live legal programming.
Well, we're not at your school, we're in my courtroom.
Unique court shows.
Where is any information about the company?
Live legal news.
That's what you should have done.
And a commitment to justice.
Either you tried or you did it.
The next generation of court programming in one dynamic network. Justice Central. You're watching Justice Central. Stay tuned. You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Myrna Thompson, who is suing Sam Price for $300.
All right, let me try to get back.
At stop 3, he tells us, Buddhist temple, you got to be real quiet in the Buddhist temple. So I tell these boys, look, now I don't care if you got to look at your phone, do something. I need you to be quiet because you know this man has already got something against us anyway. He already looking at us funny. I need you to be on your best behavior.
And then what happened?
And they were.
Your
Yeah.
Honor, if I may,
Yes, Mr. Price.
the kid in the middle of the Buddhist temple while they were all meditating yells out loudly, "What's the Wi-Fi password?"
No, Mr. Price. Tell me that didn't happen.
It did,
happened.
Your Honor, it did.
Now,
It
he
happened.
did
It
ask
happened?
him the password before we went in there. I thought he already had answered that question for him. I wasn't really paying
Well,
attention.
if we are having them have this great, rich, cultural, religious experience, why does he need the Wi-Fi password?
So he can document it on social media.
What was your response when your son hollers out about the Wi-Fi password?
Well, since I had already been disciplined about talking to my children when they act up, I just gave him a look. I did not say anything.
But you knew that that was inappropriate?
Yes.
Okay. We're at the 4th stop. What happens at the 4th stop?
So we're at the Mormon temple. Now, at the Mormon temple, you're supposed to wear a shawl.
Yes.
I want to point out, it is 90 degrees outside. So when you're in the temple, you're supposed to have on a shawl.
Well, is
When-
it a shawl? Is it a shawl? Or are you supposed to be covered?
Cover your shoulders.
There's a difference.
Yes.
So is it covering your shoulders?
Yes.
What about your arms?
He just said cover the shoulders, so my shoulders were covered.
Is that what's required in the Mormon?
Yes,
That
shoulders
your
must be covered, yes.
But you don't have to worry about your arms.
No,
Your
just the
shoulders
shoulders.
must be covered. And so on that particular day, you had on something that your shoulders were exposed, and then you put on a shawl.
Yes.
All right. And then what was the problem, Mr. Price?
The problem was that on her, she was fooling with the shawl and it came off occasionally. And on her shoulder, she had a tattoo with a dagger through a heart.
There's a dagger in my heart because the son's father, he passed away 3 years ago. So that still bothers me.
What happens?
Well, I'd had it. At the end of the 4th temple, I said, this is enough. She's disobeying all the rules, all the regulations. Her children are disrespectful. There's some kind of hippie family, apparently. And so I decided, well, I'm going to let them go. I'm going to take them back to where we started so that we could progress quietly and peacefully to the rest of the tour.
Coming up on The Verdict with Judge Hatchett.
So what about the other people who were on the tour?
They were fine.
Some of them did speak to me privately and confidentially, and I tried to do something about it each time, but nothing worked.
The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Myrna Thompson, who is suing Sam Price for $300.
And what you're claiming is that because you did not finish the tour, so the complete tour would have been $600?
Yes.
And so what you're saying, because you did not get to experience the last 4 stops, that he owes you the $300.
Yes.
Do you believe that you comply with all the rules and regulations? Because you already told me you didn't read them.
I believe, yes.
So the fact that your children were doing certain things at different stops?
There were children were allowed on the tour. I mean, it's a long day for kids. So every now and then they gonna talk. I mean, they're kids.
Right.
So they're not gonna be totally quiet, but they were, for the most part, pretty good the whole time.
So taking selfies with Jesus, hollering across the Buddhist temple, I need the Wi-Fi code, none of that was a problem?
They need to learn, but I don't think that was reason enough to take us off the tour.
So what about the other people who were on the tour?
They were fine.
Well, Your Honor, some of them did speak to me privately and confidentially, and I tried to do something about it each time, but nothing worked.
Okay, I'm going to rule on this case.
Judge Hatchett's verdict when we return.
I've heard enough to know that there were things that were inappropriate, from your behavior to that of your children's. Do I think generally the concept is wonderful? Do I think that you're to be commended for trying to expose your children to more things in the world? Absolutely, and I commend you. But I think that it is very clear that there were some infractions of the rules. Even if I hadn't read the rules, I would understand that this behavior was outside the box and was not positive. And I understand Mr. Price's position in terminating you all on the tour. Now, Mr. Price, what I'm going to ask you to do, I'm going to ask you to stretch outside the box here. And that when the youngest child is now 15, which I hope you'll still be doing this tour, I want you to let them come and start the tour again and finish it. Could we have that agreement?
We do indeed, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, so I have your word. Do I need to come down and shake hands here? Okay, I have your word that you are going to allow Miss Thompson and her sons to come back on the tour. And then I want to come on the tour at some point because I need to learn this, you know? And I'm going to bring my sons, but I promise you they're adults, so we don't, you know, I think we're okay. I think we're okay. All right?
Could we put a caveat? No offense, but he is getting up in age. I'm willing to take the boys back.
All right, so let's have a little bit of adjustment here. We're going to have the boys come back with Miss Thompson when the youngest child is 12. You're going to read the rules, and you're going to go over the rules with your children, all right? And so I'm basically suspending judgment with the understanding that we're going to go back, pick up the tour, do the first 4 over again, and do the last 4. And let's be careful not to jump to conclusions because we don't want to always carry chips on our shoulders. And I say that to you as a black woman, that just because you were asked to move to the back of the van, don't assume it's because we're black people, right? Because, you know, there's sometimes you have to stand up for your rights. Now, I'm not saying you should just roll over. But it seems to me that it was a legitimate reason. These were elderly people, and although there was a microphone, it may have been easier for them. So let's just kind of all try to take a deep breath, you know? Yes, let's do that. And let's all try to get along, all right?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. If nothing further, we'll stand adjourned.
All rise. Both parties are excused.
I apologize for jumping to conclusions. We got off on the wrong foot. It will be a pleasure for me and my boys to come do the tour again.
Well, I accept your apology. I look forward to having you back when your boys are a little older.